Hi, guys, good evening, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host, Eddie, and in tonight's video, I will be discussing what I thought of the latest and the most turn and twisted episode of Into the Dark that we have ever received. I mean, it was shocking, it was surprising, it was actually pretty damn funny in certain parts. Not necessarily scary, but definitely there for shock value and intensity. Before I go on, of course, please be warned, this is a spoiler-filled episode review. If you have not yet watched the Christmas-themed episode of Into the Dark on Hulu, which is titled Nasty Piece of Work, do not keep watching or listening, as I will be going into spoilers. So, you have been warned. That being said, let's jump right into it. This was like if Christmas Vacation met Ready or Not. And Ready or Not was a recent, exciting, great horror movie that came out earlier this year. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I won't go into much detail, but this episode was very reminiscent of it. And there were elements of this episode that reminded me of Christmas Vacation, an overworked, underpaid employee who badly wanted a Christmas bonus and was willing to do anything to get it, to make his family, or in this case, his wife, happy. And then, it didn't have much to do with Christmas, except it took place during the Christmas season, and, there was the theme of, like, holiday or Christmas bonuses and whatnot. But really, it was about two guys who ended up playing the most horrific, unorthodox job interview you would ever want to be a part of or be witness to, because there's so many twists and turns in this episode. You just didn't know what was real, what wasn't. Is this part of the game, or is this real? Like, did they really just die, or did they pretend to die? Like when the wife suddenly came back from a headshot, that was shocking. I really thought, oh, okay, so this is about covering up a murder. I thought this episode will be about how to get away with murder, but nope, she wasn't dead after all. They didn't actually explain how they created like a makeup effect for her to look like she got her head blown off or something. But anyway, this episode was very lots of twists and turns and surprises. And it wasn't necessarily scary, but it was certainly intense for moments, where it's basically two very psychotic, sick people who thought it was absolutely amusing to basically force two other people in a almost fight to the death, or in this case, a competition where it's like, who's going to get the job? Like, who's got the guts to really, like, do what it needs to be done to get this job almost. And even though it was like, even though they were faking the whole handicapped kid, the son thing, that turned out it wasn't their son. It was the guy that the main guy had hit with his car several years prior, and that's why he was spending every Friday night, he claimed every Friday night after work, but really he was visiting this guy in the hospital, and then he turns out to be some actor that they hired or something. I mean, what the fuck? This is seriously like one of the most twist and turns things I have ever seen in a long time, and I'm just like, huh? It was kind of confusing at parts, but I got the gist of it for the most part. I do like how in the end, the one person who ended up getting the job, the executive position, didn't turn out to be neither guy. Our somewhat likable leading man, and then the douchebag tool of an asshole and his gold digger wife. Such despicable characters, but so well performed and played. And another huge highlight was seeing the crazy boss and then his super resentful wife, like, just constantly ripping on each other, even before the evening gets really intense and bloody and shocking. They're just throwing and hurtling insults at one another, and that shit what they were saying was hurtful and yet incredibly funny. And, like, this was probably one of the funnier, if not the funniest episode of Into the Dark I have ever seen, and this is the second season, but still, I'm like, damn. But what an entertaining episode too. Very entertaining, very unexpected, lots of shocking twists and twists and turns, and weirdly enough, it had a fairly happy ending. I mean, the psychotic couple got blown away, but the world is probably better off without them. And the guy who badly wanted a a promotion at work, did not end up getting it, but his wife did, which was nice. And then the douchebag Tool, who got hurt throughout the entire episode, was stuck at his same position. So haha. So in a weird way, this episode had quite a happy ending for an Into the Dark episode, because usually it ends on a rather ambiguous note or a sad, unhappy note. But this one had a pretty good, surprisingly happy ending. Very entertaining and unexpected episode. Not exactly too Christmassy, but that's okay. It took place during the holiday, and, I'll still categorize it as holiday horror. Basically, just imagine like a holiday Christmas party at your boss's house, and it just goes to hell. That's basically a lot of people's worst case scenario or nightmare, and this episode brought it to life. So well done, Into the Dark, and hats off to the cast. Everybody did a great job. Loved the performances, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So what did you guys think of a nasty piece of work? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you expecting more, expecting less? I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions and your feedback down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Into the Dark airs new episodes the first Friday of every month on Hulu and only Hulu. You can watch the first full season up there now, and the second season is currently streaming right now. I believe the next one comes at the end of this month. I believe instead of the first Friday of January, it will be the final Friday of December of this month, and that one will most likely be a New Year's Eve episode. All right, guys, have a great rest of the night. Thanks again for watching, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.